You're watching MH Nation. Get the latest NBA news, transfer rumors, and match updates fast. Like, share, and subscribe to stay ahead of the game.
Today we have some major stories you don't want to miss. Don Nelson's resurfaced Luka Doncic trade protest, a concerning verdict on the Lakers' new-look roster, a possible Jared Vanderbilt trade, the latest Jonathan Kuminga update, the P.J. Washington trade package, Austin Reaves' trade situation, and Shaq's verdict on LeBron James among Lakers greats. Video resurfaces of Don Nelson's fiery protest over Luka Doncic's trade to the Lakers. Legendary NBA coach Don Nelson passed away on Sunday, August 9th at the age of 86. And just a few hours after the news broke, something started spreading across social media that nobody expected to resurface at a moment like this: a video. One that instantly reminded the entire basketball world exactly how deeply this man cared about Luka Doncic. The footage comes from a press conference during the 2025 NBA Finals, where Nelson, the coach who helped build the Dallas Mavericks from the ground up, called out his own former franchise for trading away its superstar. As a matter of fact, I want everybody to know I'm wearing Luka's shoes, his new shoes from Nike. They just got on the market, and I'm wearing them in protest for the trade from Dallas, Nelson said at the time. I think it was a tremendous mistake by the Dallas franchise to trade him, and I want everybody to know that. Think about that for a second. A Hall of Fame coach, standing in front of cameras during the sport's biggest stage, wearing another team's superstar's sneakers just to make a public statement. So how did Luka Doncic actually end up with the Lakers in the first place? The trade shook the entire league to its core back in February 2025. It involved three teams: the Lakers, the Mavericks, and the Utah Jazz. Dallas agreed to send Doncic, along with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris, to Los Angeles. In return, the Mavericks received Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. The Jazz, meanwhile, picked up Jalen Hood-Schifino and a pair of second-round picks. For the Lakers, this move instantly transformed them into championship contenders, elevating their offensive ceiling overnight thanks to Doncic's unmatched playmaking. But here's where things got messy for Dallas. Following a dismal start to the next season, owner Patrick Dumont fired general manager Nico Harrison amid widespread criticism over how the trade was handled. The centerpiece of the return, Anthony Davis, was quickly flipped to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton and draft assets. And then, in a twist nobody could have scripted, the Mavericks hit the jackpot in the very next draft lottery, landing generational talent Cooper Flagg, who has already taken over as the franchise's new cornerstone. Now here's why Don Nelson's protest hits so much harder in hindsight. Nelson wasn't just some outside observer with an opinion. He was the architect who drafted Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash back in 1998. The man who revolutionized the sport with his Nelly ball offense built around small ball lineups and dynamic spacing. Though his coaching tenure ended in 2005, years before Dallas won its first title, his scouting eye and offensive philosophy laid the entire foundation for the modern, fast-paced NBA we watch today. He finished his coaching career with a 339 and 251 record, 4 playoff appearances, and a trip to the 2003 Western Conference Finals, before being inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012. So when a coach with that kind of legacy stood up and called a trade involving his franchise a tremendous mistake, people listened. And now, following his passing, that moment is being watched all over again by millions of fans who finally understand just how much Don Nelson believed in what Luka Doncic represented for the game of basketball. Up next, we're staying on that same roster, but shifting from tribute to controversy, because not everyone is convinced this new-look Lakers team is built the right way. In another news, NBA champion drops a concerning verdict on the Lakers' new-look roster. Former NBA champion Channing Frye just delivered a verdict on the Lakers that Lakers Nation absolutely was not ready to hear. And it's not a lukewarm take. It's a full-blown warning shot aimed directly at the front office. On the latest episode of the Road Trippin' Show, Frye predicted that the Lakers, even after a summer full of roster additions, would end up as nothing more than a fringe playoff team. Make a playoff run? No, they can make the playoffs. I don't like the way that the team is built at all, Fry declared. And maybe something happens, but no, they're going to lose to a team like Denver, Minnesota, OKC, Houston. I even got Phoenix right there. Utah. I mean, do I even have to say San Antonio? That's not just one team he's picking the Lakers to lose to. That's practically the entire Western Conference contender list, all in one breath. So, what exactly is Fry's issue with this roster? Entering the offseason, many expected the Lakers to model their new-look team after the 2024 Dallas Mavericks squad that rode Luka Doncic all the way to the NBA Finals. But according to Fry, Los Angeles completely missed that blueprint. If this was trying to make what they had in Dallas, I think they need to re-look at what they had in Dallas, Fry stressed. Like an athlete at center, a prime athlete at forward, a prime athlete defender at 3, a prime athlete shooter at 2, and then him. He needs to be surrounded by defensive athletes, guys that can get out and play, make their own plays. In other words, that 2024 Mavs team had elite, versatile 3-and-D wings like P.J. Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. covering for Doncic's defensive lapses. The current Lakers roster doesn't really have anyone built for that exact role, outside of maybe the offensively limited Matisse Thybulle. This team feels very ploppy and very half-court sets team, Fry added. Here's the twist that makes this whole situation even more complicated. Fry believes Doncic himself, who reportedly signed off on all 9 of these new Lakers additions, might actually prefer a slower, half-court style of basketball over a high-tempo attack. This doesn't seem like a team that's going to get out and just run, but maybe that's not what Luka wants to do anymore, Fry said. Doncic, for his part, has publicly said he's excited about the roster, telling reporters, "I think we have a really good team. I'm very excited to start a new season." So who exactly did the Lakers add this summer? Walker Kessler, Quentin Grimes, Colin Sexton, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Zaire Williams, Matisse Thybulle, Kevon Looney, Jaden Hardy, plus the draft rights to Cameron Carr. 9 new pieces joining a core led by Doncic, Austin Reaves, and Bronny James. The question now is simple. Did the Lakers build a contender, or did they just build a deeper version of a team with the exact same flaws Channing Frye is warning everyone about? And speaking of roster flaws, one specific player's name just won't stop coming up in Lakers trade rumors this week. In another news, Lakers exploring a trade that would send Jared Vanderbilt out for a sharpshooting wing. Among all the names swirling in Lakers trade rumors right now, one keeps resurfacing again and again. Defensive-minded forward Jared Vanderbilt. And this time, there's a very specific trade idea attached to his name that Lakers fans need to know about. Vanderbilt, 27, was originally acquired ahead of the 2023 trade deadline and rewarded with a new multi-year contract after an impressive stretch run. The problem? Availability. Over the last 3 seasons, Vanderbilt has played in just 130 total games. His minutes have cratered too, dropping from 24 minutes per game in his first season in Los Angeles all the way down to just 17 minutes a night last season. With the Lakers still hunting for a starting power forward and Vanderbilt sitting on a very tradable contract, he figures to be dealt at some point before next season's trade deadline. So who could the Lakers realistically get in return? Forget Kuminga, forget Washington, forget even a Kyle Kuzma reunion. One under-the-radar name making a lot of sense right now is Charlotte Hornets forward Grant Williams. Here's the hypothetical 3-team framework being floated, involving the Lakers, the Hornets, and the Detroit Pistons. The Lakers would receive Grant Williams. The Hornets would receive a 2028 second-round pick from Detroit and a 2031 second-round pick from Los Angeles. The Pistons would receive Jared Vanderbilt outright. Why would all 3 sides actually consider this? For Detroit, it's close to a no-brainer. The Pistons already have a stout defensive identity, and after losing defensive stalwart Isaiah Stewart this offseason, adding an elite on-ball defender like Vanderbilt for the price of 1 second-round pick looks like an easy win. For Charlotte, this is about roster math. With Naz Reid arriving this offseason, the Hornets currently have 19 players glued to their standard roster, well above the league limit. Trimming over $14 million in payroll while adding draft capital makes Williams expendable in a hurry. And for the Lakers, they'd be landing a genuine full-time starter. Williams was a key rotation piece for the Boston Celtics through multiple deep playoff runs, so he already knows what it feels like to perform under a bright spotlight. Last season, he shot nearly 39% from three-point range, while maintaining his reputation as a tenacious on-ball defender. Exactly the kind of shooting and defense the Lakers have been desperately searching for at power forward. But before Lakers fans get too excited, there's one massive red flag hanging over this entire deal: Williams' health. He's appeared in just 81 total games since being traded from Dallas to Charlotte ahead of the 2024 deadline. So the real question becomes this: are the Lakers willing to gamble on a proven shooter and defender who simply can't seem to stay on the floor? Right now, that appears to be exactly the trade-off Los Angeles is weighing. Speaking of power forward targets, there's a much bigger name the Lakers have been chasing all summer, and the news on that front just got a whole lot worse. In another news, NBA executive reveals the Lakers' pursuit of Jonathan Kuminga is stuck. For weeks, Lakers fans have held on to hope that Jonathan Kuminga would eventually sign with Los Angeles. But according to a blunt new assessment from an NBA executive, that hope might officially be dead. The Lakers, it turns out, have likely already made their best offer to Kuminga, and the fact that he still hasn't signed after more than a month of flirtation is a telling sign he might not be coming to LA after all. Kuminga, who has averaged 12.5 points across 5 NBA seasons, was traded to the Atlanta Hawks last year at the trade deadline and played 16 games down the stretch. But after some struggles in Atlanta's first-round playoff loss to the Knicks, the Hawks stunned everyone by declining to pick up his $24 million player option. That sent Kuminga into free agency for the second year in a row. And here we are, heading toward mid-August, and he still remains unsigned. So what's actually happening behind the scenes? One NBA executive laid it all out in blunt terms. I think he would like to play for the Lakers and they'd like to have him, but I know they and a lot of teams have already told him, look, this is what we can do. So he has all the information. The money, the cap space, it has been spent. He's not waiting for anything new out there, because there is nothing new that's going to happen. So, he is stuck. But he is entitled to take as much time as he wants. Here's the part that really stings for Lakers fans. Los Angeles actually made a sincere offer back in early July. A 2-year, $20 million contract that would have let Kuminga leave after the season to test the market again. It wasn't enough money for him. And as for those persistent sign and trade rumors, those have likely been overblown the entire time. The Lakers simply don't have the trade assets to entice the Hawks, or any other team, into a complicated 3-team sign and trade. And even then, LA could only offer him a fairly modest salary over 3 years. So where does this leave Kuminga now? It's possible he ends up forced into taking a 1-year minimum contract somewhere, which could theoretically bring the Lakers back into the conversation. But that's unlikely. Right now, Kuminga appears to be holding out to see what happens with Denver Nuggets restricted free agent Peyton Watson. Because if Watson doesn't land with the Milwaukee Bucks, Kuminga could suddenly become a fit there instead. The Bucks remain the frontrunner for Watson this summer, while the Clippers, currently tangled up in the Kawhi Leonard aspiration scandal, are also lurking as a potential suitor. All of which means the Kuminga saga isn't over. But for the Lakers specifically, the ship may have already sailed a month ago. So if Kuminga really is off the table, who exactly is Plan B for the Lakers at power forward? One name just resurfaced with a very specific trade framework attached. In another news, Lakers' projected trade package for P.J. Washington finally revealed. The Los Angeles Lakers are still hunting for a starting power forward, and honestly, things have not been easy. LeBron James's departure left a gaping hole at the position, and losing Rui Hachimura, one of the greatest three-point shooters in playoff history, along with the still bullish defender Marcus Smart, didn't exactly help matters either. For weeks, the Lakers tried to fill that void by chasing Atlanta Hawks free agent Jonathan Kuminga. But with that pursuit generating interest from teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers and Minnesota Timberwolves, and the deal reportedly stuck, is it finally time for Los Angeles to pivot hard toward Dallas Mavericks forward P.J. Washington? Washington 27 has been floated in Lakers trade speculation for the better part of a year now, and his prior chemistry with Luka Doncic in Dallas makes him a logical target on paper. But according to writer P.J. of BasketNews.com, here's what a realistic trade package might actually look like. The Lakers would receive P.J. Washington. The Mavericks would receive Jared Vanderbilt, Dalton Knecht, and a 2031 second-round pick. Sapetka broke down the numbers behind it. Washington is set to make $19.8 million in 2026-27, while Vanderbilt is on a $12.4 million salary, and Knecht is on a rookie-scale deal worth around $4.2 million for the same season. That puts the outgoing Lakers' salary close enough to make this a logical matching framework. But here's the twist. Would Dallas actually say yes to this? For Lakers fans, this trade might look signed and sealed. For Mavericks fans, not so fast. According to Sapetka, Vanderbilt, meanwhile, would give Dallas a solid defensive forward, but he is not a major offensive piece and would not replace Washington's two-way value on his own. Because of that, Dallas could push the Lakers to include an additional second-round pick, or even the 2032 first-round pick swap to make the deal more attractive. The uncomfortable truth is that the Mavericks would likely reject this exact offer as it stands. Recent reports suggest Dallas is open to moving its veterans, but only in exchange for serious draft compensation, something the Lakers simply don't have much of right now. Their most realistic path to landing Washington might actually require bringing in a third or even fourth team to funnel more picks toward Dallas, which could mean surrendering young assets like Adu Thiero or even 2026 first-round pick Cameron Carr in the process. Here's the bigger picture, though. The Mavericks currently have over $330 million invested into their front court. Hardly a sustainable setup for a young rebuilding team centered around a teenage superstar. Eventually, veterans like Washington and Daniel Gafford are going to get moved. The only question left is whether it's the Lakers who end up on the other side of that trade, or whether some other desperate contender swoops in first. Now, let's step away from trade rumors completely, because our next story hits on something far more personal from a Lakers legend. In another news, ex-Lakers star gets brutally honest about his 18-year NBA legacy. Former Los Angeles Lakers point guard and 2017 NBA MVP Russell Westbrook just opened up about something far more important to him than any stat line or championship banner: his legacy. And what he revealed will completely change how you see one of the most dominant players of his generation. Speaking with CNN, Westbrook explained that he wants to be remembered for something that goes far beyond the basketball court. "My legacy is the impact I will have had on the lives of others," Westbrook said. "Not points, not triple-doubles, not records. The impact on other people's lives." So what exactly does that impact look like in practice? Westbrook has built a long-standing initiative to give back to communities across Los Angeles, the city where he grew up, and where both the Lakers and Clippers play, as well as in Oklahoma City, where he found the most success of his career with the Thunder. His outreach is primarily managed through the Russell Westbrook Why Not Foundation, which focuses on education, workforce development, mental health, and affordable housing. Driven by his personal motto, "Why Not?" the foundation provides long-term structural support to youth and families across South Los Angeles and Altadena. "Everything starts with the community and the impact I can have," Westbrook said. "I grew up here. I've been coming to this park since I was 8 years old. Being able to come back here 30 years later and organize this kind of thing year after year is a true blessing. Honestly, it sometimes keeps me up at night. I'm constantly looking for new ways to have an impact on the lives of others." Now let's talk about the basketball resume backing all of this up, because it's genuinely historic. Westbrook was drafted 4th overall by Oklahoma City back in 2008, and over 11 stellar seasons there, he became an 8-time All-Star, won the 2016-17 NBA MVP award, and averaged a historic triple-double across multiple seasons before being traded in 2019. On the court, Westbrook has now played 18 seasons total, suiting up for the Houston Rockets, Washington Wizards, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, Denver Nuggets, and Sacramento Kings. He's currently a free agent, waiting for a team to offer him a chance at a 19th season in the league. So what exactly is Westbrook looking for from his next team? Not necessarily a title contender, just somewhere he genuinely feels wanted. There's so many different things that have to align for you to be able to win a championship in this league, Westbrook said during his exit interview with the Kings last season. But sometimes you can be in the position and it don't work out. That's it. So for me, it's just being in a place where I'm wanted, having fun, enjoying the game. To me, that's what's important. He's currently drawing interest from multiple teams, including the Kings, Cavaliers, Rockets, and even a potential reunion with the Thunder. And after averaging 15.2 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 6.7 assists across 64 games last season, it's clear Westbrook still has plenty left to give, both on the court and off of it. Now back to the current Lakers roster, because there's one player whose future in Los Angeles just got a lot clearer, straight from a trusted team insider. In another news, Top Insider reveals the Lakers' true stance on an Austin Reaves trade. The Los Angeles Lakers took care of a massive piece of business this offseason by locking Austin Reaves into a multi-year contract, cementing him as Luka Doncic's long-term running mate. But here's the question that's been lingering all summer. If a big enough offer ever came along, would the Lakers actually consider trading him? In the months leading up to this offseason, there was real speculation that Los Angeles might look to move Reaves, who was coming off his best professional season, in order to bring back multiple win-now pieces to build around Doncic. But as we now know, the Lakers' intention all along was to keep him, and reports indicate Doncic himself made it clear to the front office that he wanted Reaves retained. The Lakers ultimately prioritized Reaves, 28, over LeBron James, who was heading toward unrestricted free agency, which tells you everything about how highly this front office actually values him. So what happens if a trade offer for Reaves ever does land on the table? According to team insider Jovan Buha, there's only one scenario the Lakers would ever seriously entertain. One other thing I've consistently said through the years with my understanding of how the Lakers view Austin is if they moved Austin, it is going to be for an upgrade, not going to be splitting him into multiple players. I think it would be Austin plus draft capital to get a better player, not Austin for 2 or 3 pieces. In other words, the Lakers aren't interested in breaking Reaves up into a package of role players or draft picks just for the sake of adding depth. Buha doubled down on that point too. I think they would use him as a tool to upgrade the roster from a talent perspective, not from a depth perspective. Meanwhile, the Lakers' offseason hunt for one more difference maker continues in the background. Los Angeles currently has 4 clear starters locked in: Doncic, Reaves, Quentin Grimes, and Walker Kessler. But they still need one more consistent contributor to round out the lineup. We've heard just about every name imaginable connected to the Lakers this summer, from Jonathan Kuminga to P.J. Washington to Peyton Watson. But none of those situations have turned into anything concrete yet. On the Kuminga front specifically, the Lakers have been chasing the 23-year-old swingman since late June without being able to close the gap, while Washington and Watson remain far more speculative names with no serious negotiations attached to them. So here's where things stand. The 2026-27 season is shaping up to be a genuine experiment for the Lakers. But with Doncic firmly established as the face of the franchise and entering the prime years of his career, the clock is officially ticking for Los Angeles to prove this roster can actually compete for a championship, and fast. And for our final story tonight, let's close things out with a debate that's guaranteed to blow up the comment section. In another news, Shaq delivers a blunt verdict on LeBron James's place among Lakers legends. LeBron James spent exactly 2,913 days under contract with the Los Angeles Lakers after first agreeing to join the franchise on July 9, 2018. Now, his decision to continue his career with the Philadelphia 76ers officially closes an 8-year run in Los Angeles, and it has reignited a fierce debate over exactly where he belongs among the franchise's all-time greats. And Shaquille O'Neal just weighed in with an answer that is going to spark serious controversy. Shaq drew a sharp, unmistakable distinction between simply joining that historic group of Lakers legends and actually standing at the very center of it. The good thing for LeBron, he did win one, O'Neal said. But you know, Kareem got 6, Magic got 5, Kobe got 5, I got 4, Rambis got 3. So you know, he's at the party, but he's not on stage. Let that sink in for a second. Shaq isn't denying LeBron's greatness. He's drawing a very specific, very pointed line based purely on championship rings, won while wearing purple and gold. But here's the twist that makes Shaq's take far more nuanced than it first appears. He didn't dismiss what LeBron accomplished in Los Angeles at all. Before even getting into the ring count debate, Shaq actually defended LeBron against a separate wave of criticism, this time coming from Charles Barkley, who accused LeBron of chasing another championship by heading to Philadelphia. O'Neal flatly rejected that framing. The man is not chasing rings. The man has already gotten rings the right way, O'Neal said. Towards the end of your career, if you could join up and help somebody else get a ring and continue to get rings, I call it ring continuancy. So Shaq isn't accusing LeBron of manufacturing his legacy. He's simply refusing to place one Lakers championship on the same pedestal as the title hauls racked up by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, himself, and even role player Kurt Rambis. Now let's look at the numbers backing this debate up. LeBron delivered the Lakers a championship in 2020, giving his tenure a defining team achievement to point to. Including playoff games, the Lakers finished 319 and 223 during his 8 seasons in Los Angeles, with James posting a personal postseason record of 32 and 31. His per-game averages during that stretch landed at 25.9 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 7.9 assists, numbers that stack up favorably against several prominent former Lakers, including James Worthy and even Abdul-Jabbar himself. Of course, that comparison comes with context, since Abdul-Jabbar shared the floor with both Worthy and Johnson, spreading production across multiple stars, while LeBron often carried a far less accomplished supporting cast through a significantly tougher modern league. So where does that leave the debate? Shaq's comments don't challenge LeBron's overall stature, and they certainly don't erase his place in Lakers history. But they do draw a clear, narrower standard for a franchise that counts multiple champions among its defining names. LeBron's individual numbers and that 2020 title secure him an invitation to the historic gathering, in Shaq's own words. But according to the Diesel, one ring simply isn't enough to earn a spot on the stage next to the legends who delivered championship after championship after championship.